All right, everybody, welcome to the Solasta Crown of the Magister How to Not Noob Guide for Cataclysm mode. So we've had a few little adventures with this, and we're going to start with our character creation. Let's go over what we think might be good in the long term, and how to create some characters that we are going to build up for Cataclysm mode. Alright, so for some improvements of the game mode, we are going to be playing this on Cataclysm mode, but we are going to customize this a little bit. This will not affect the difficulty in terms of combat or anything, but it is going to make some life improvements that I do recommend is just better compared to playing through the game just raw on Cataclysm mode. So as you see, damage taken is 150%. What that means for you is if a dice would say you would deal 4 damage, the enemy is going to end up dealing 6. So lower numbers not so big, but when they're hitting you for 12 damage and now it becomes 18, that's basically a one-hit kill, or one-hit knock them unconscious. So pretty scary. The health multiplier isn't that bad, I've noticed, for my test runs, and I'm okay with the 200%. It kind of just makes the fights last a little bit longer. But the saving throws and the enemy attack rolls, all the enemies have a +3 to their rolls, which is terrifying considering that adds about a 15% difficulty increase. Each side of a dice is about 5%, so we're adding +3 to that. That adds about 15% of difficulty to the game. Deadlier AI, so monsters will use more powerful moves and shove characters to their death. This is terrifying. I've had to play around this. We are going to utilize the shove method a lot more this round, but something to be careful about. Merciless AI, they attack unconscious players trying to kill them. That sucks. I hate that. So character improvements though. I am turning on auto revive. Characters are automatically revived at the end of the battle as long as one survived. I just feel like it's, if you're cleared out, the game doesn't give you enough resources to, oh, I have to make him live, I have to make him live. You don't have that many scroll of revivifies, and the game is so RNG based to a point that this is my one handicap that I will say will make my life a little easier, so that way I'm not constantly spending all my money on revivify scrolls, especially early on. We're going to keep everything else on here, but we're going to put companions rests on. Critical NPCs and companions fully recover during short rest. That makes sense. I mean, like, if you're taking a rest, then why wouldn't your companions take a rest too? So I think that just adds realism to it. Encumbrance rule. I hate Solasta's variant. I'm going tabletop. I am a DM for D&D. I don't even really play with encumbrance in general in D&D, so I really don't want to play with that in Solasta. Universal scrolls. So I do turn this on. I feel like the point of a scroll is that you are able to read the incantation and cast it, whether you're a rogue, a fighter, or a wizard. You can agree with me or you can disagree with me, but if my cleric goes down, I want somebody to be able to cast Revivify on him. Everything else I'm pretty fine with. Guaranteed critical, we're not going to do that. Auto detect traps. The only thing I will say is I'm going to reroll exploration checks. That just gives me the option to open up a chest that, again, I would normally not be able to if I failed to roll. I don't see why in real life you wouldn't just keep trying to open a chest. If you are a master thief lockpicker and you just messed up one time, you're not going to stop. So again, it's adding the realism. I'm fine with that. But that's it. That's going to be our difficulty. All right, so first things first, so let's start by building up our team. And so looking for a balanced team composition is going to be the most important thing while playing Cataclysm mode. So let's start with our cleric, our healer. I'm going to go pretty simple, but I do feel like the dwarves are probably the best clerics in the game. Alternatively, I guess you could do humans, but I don't like the fact they don't have dark vision, and humans, in my opinion, are kind of boring. You get +1 to all of your ability scores. Yeah, sure, that's neat, but you really only need 2 or 3 skills for each of your classes anyway, so being a jack of all trades, I'd rather be specialized, especially in something like Cataclysm mode. So let's build out a balanced party. If you really don't like, then maybe you go more of a dexterous, maybe go for a more nimble and dexterous, like Sylvan Elf, and then go for, like, a job that will give you martial weapon training. But I do feel like the hill dwarves are hands down the best clerics. In addition to that, they do get their advantage against poison and their poison resistance as well. So, with all the Sorlax out there, I'm pretty cool with that. So let's go to the Cleric, and there's a couple good options, but first things first, I don't know why anybody would ever choose the Mace over a Warhammer. It's a 1d8 versus a d6, and you can switch. I mean, if you really wanted, you can one-hand it if you really want with a Cleric, but I don't feel like that's necessary. But at the same, just take a Warhammer. You don't need a Mace. Light Crossbow, we're actually going to keep that, but we're not going to use it for a Cleric, and I'll show you why in a minute. Priest Pack is fine. You can do the Explorer if you really want, but Priest Pack I feel like is better because you get healing remedy scrolls and stuff like that. And Shield and Holy Symbol, we need those for a Cleric. So now that our gear is there, there's a couple good options. Life Domain is my favorite for easier levels, just because getting the heavy armor proficiency is really good, getting the extra healing is really good. However, in Cataclysm mode, you're not going to be able to out-heal the damage output. You're at a huge disadvantage with that, so I am going to actually omit the Life Cleric as a good option for Cataclysm. You can go Gatekeeper is okay, and a Battle one was pretty cool. I actually was contemplating that. But even Law was okay, just because I noticed the enemies shoved me a lot more in Cataclysm mode. But what I really, really like was Elemental or Sun. And I'm going to go with Elemental Fire, because Sun is cool, but it makes your Sacred Flame cast, the enemies who you cast it on, they have disadvantage on the saving throw. Normally that's really good. That is really good, but we're on Cataclysm mode. They have a +3 to chance to succeed. They have a 15% advantage on you casting that Sacred Flame. So instead, we're going to go Elemental Fire, and we're going to get a bonus cantrip, Firebolt. In addition to that, there is a lot of fire-throwing enemies in this game, so we are going to stick with Elemental Fire. For our background, I am honestly I kind of debated for a little bit. I think that the Wanderer background is pretty good, just to kind of get the toolkits out of the way. They are better with Smith's tools and Herbalism kit. It's nice. It does make sure that I have those covered in the Herbalism aspect to it. Lawkeeper was another decent option, just because you can get the proficiency with martial weapons. But as a Cleric, I'm mostly using my spell slots, and eventually I'm going to bump up my strength really high to make sure I'm more of a physical damage dealer compared to my spells. So I'm going Wanderer. Lawkeeper I think is a good option if you want to be able to use different types of weapons. Just getting the martial proficiencies are really cool, but we're going to go with this. And personality doesn't matter too much. Let's make her nice. I don't like me mean. A little chaotic though. Alright, now this is Cataclysm mode. You are going to abuse this reroll option as much as you want. Those stats are horrible. In some games you can go point buy. I actually like playing the game in point buy, prefer it, because I like building my character how the game is designed. I do feel like the game is balanced that way by doing a point buy system. However, I need every advantage I can get, and I highly recommend you do it too, so we're going to spam this roll until we get some nice 18s or 20s. That's good. I'm okay with this. Let's do this. Alright, so odd numbers are traditionally pretty bad. I'm going to be going for the long game a little bit, and honestly, if I'm going to go the long game, your best option is actually swap out your strength and dex. I am going to end up getting a belt of giant strength. So because of that, this is actually a little bit better. And I would recommend, if you do go to the martial weapons aspect, and you're going to build them with dexterity a little bit more, go ahead and you should do that. I'm going to only take the strength right now because I am planning on getting a belt of giant strength in the long run. So These stats are normally pretty bad. I would really recommend if you're not really looking to equip extra items right off the bat. First item I'm getting for my Cleric is going to be the Belt of Giant Strength, so that way we can get that up to over 20. But in the meantime, I don't feel like we need to dump stats in it. So this could be bad, could be good, but she's mostly going to be flinging spells, and she just got an 18, and that's pretty good. That's a plus, was it? Yeah, plus 4 to hit. That's going to be good. Firebolt is going to be her main weapon damage dealing ability. Other than that, Constitution is 19. I would have loved an 18 in that, but it gives me a way to fiddle with the tough feat that I'm going to take later on. It's going to give me a plus 1, so that way I'm not wasting any stat points. So, as far as skills, most of these don't really matter. I do highly recommend get your medicine on, and perhaps insight since you're already so good with it. And for spells, you always want to take guidance. You do want to activate this proactively before talking to people or when you feel like you might need these skills. So you got to make sure you're watching that. Sacred Flame. I don't even think I'm taking this because I don't think I will ever use Sacred Flame as this character. So we're going to Spare the Dying, and I personally love Sparkle. So Sparkle is a great bonus action for the light in this game. Spare the Dying, making sure my people don't die. Firebolt is your main damage dealer with this class. Let's go from there. First name, Andrea Redstone. That sounds nice and cool. I like her. She's good enough for me. All right, now let's go on to our Wizard. I think it's the best choice now. So for a Wizard, you're probably gonna want to go Elf. Not that Elf though. Where is he at? This one. Probably High Elf. High Elves do get the +1 in intelligence. They are proficient with long sword, short bow, long bow. Those are actually pretty good. It's a really good option if you want to go that route. Other good alternatives would be a half elf, but the +2 charisma doesn't really do anything for you. And you might possibly, oh, isn't it? Nope, that's not it. Dwarf again? No. Nah, we're gonna stick with the high elf. So the high elves, the reason I'm going this route is because you get the +2 dexterity and the 1 intelligence, and you're gonna see that for my build later on. Let's go. Who do we want? Let's go to that. Just looking for somebody pretty. Oh, that wasn't bad. And you can just think, okay, I like the guy with Mohawk. He's pretty cool. There we go. Good little wizard outfit. All right, so for the wizard, we're gonna look at some of these arcane traditions. So Shock Arcanist is a good damage dealing output. How being able to upcast your spells for free is awesome. However, I really want to go for something more consistent, and that's why I looked into the Green Mage. So Green Mages, they are going to be mostly focused on dealing damage with archery. And that's why I grabbed the Cleric for her crossbow, because I'm going to straight up end up giving that to my wizard. They get the fighting style for archery, so it's +2 to hit, and it's just a more consistent output in damage. He's going to eventually learn all the ranger spells, so I'm going to get things like Goodberry, so I don't have to worry about rations, which means I can abuse the long rest system, because I'm constantly going to have food. In addition to that, Hunter's Mark with the wizard is still really good. So we're thinking long term, and Green Mage I think is going to be a good option. And I'm actually going to grab the Sellsword. Now, this is probably going to be the weirdest wizard for everybody here. Why are we even bothering making a wizard in this case? So we could bring what do you call him? What are they called? Ranger. Yeah, rangers. If you're making basically a wizard that's going to be shooting with a bow, why are you grabbing a ranger? Or why aren't you doing that? Well, I want consistent damage, and more importantly, this game pretty much makes you take Identify. I don't like Violent. No one I'm kind to. So, Identify is probably the best spell in the game. It's so necessary. And I'll show you why, because you're basically going to just constantly get magic items, and you need to be able to identify them. So, we're going to go with this for now. And let's roll until we get something good. Ooh, right off the bat. All right. Oh, look, this intelligence. I don't like that. 1 second. Let me just fix this to something even better. Oh, yeah. Yeah. 20 wizard dexterity. That's what we want, right, guys? Come on. Of course you want that. 12. These other stats are actually pretty bad. It's not worth it. We gotta re-roll it. We're gonna go. 18. Okay, there we go. That's what I want to see. 20 in dex, put the 16 there. We want the 14 in strength. Should I just dump intelligence? I'm contemplating dumping the intelligence with the 13 to make it the 14. And benefit of doing that ultimately will end up being that I can get to the headband of intellect that will cap them off at 19, which is a +4. I won't get the +5 for intelligence, but it does make my modifiers, my ability score improvements significantly better. That's if you want to min-max, but honestly, 17 intel is fine. We're not going to really utilize it that much, so I'm thinking. You know what? Yeah, we're gonna flip that. Let's reveal it. Oh shit! All right, new moment. Don't do that. All right, that's pretty good. That kind of settled it for me. So we got the 16 intelligence, we got 15 in con. We'll end up bumping that up with tough feat, and then we'll start focusing on intelligence a little bit more after the fact. But this is a good wizard so far. Or wizard in quotation marks. We're gonna get him in proficient in Arcana, probably history, so we can learn some stuff. Let's make sure he knows Dwarvish, Orcish. Actually, yeah, Dwarvish. All right, on to the spells. So for him, we don't want anything with a saving throw because his modifier to hit with that is actually lower than normal. So we are going to grab a Firebolt. But again, we probably actually won't utilize Firebolt that much. Let's grab Sparkle, let's grab Shocking Grasp. Maybe Shadow Armor might be good. Dancing Lights. So Dancing Lights, Sparkle, Shocking Grasp. Yeah, back to... I want to go here. So let's get Shocking Grasp for the Ancestry one. Sparkle, Dancing Lights. Am I ever really going to use Firebolt? Is it worth Firebolt? Maybe Poison Spray, but there are a lot of things are resistant to that. Light is good. Shadow Armor, if I can actually remember to do that. 3 hit points, though, for 1 minute. That's not really that good for me to prep. And it's not concentration, but I don't think we need that. I think, honestly, Annoying Bee. Just because that is a straight... Yeah, inflicts distracted by Annoying Bee, disadvantage on concentration saves. That's pretty funny. Yeah, I like that. Alright, for our spell list. You need to take Identify. Like, no questions. You take Identify. Magic Missile to make sure we hit things. Shield, so make sure we don't get hits. Mage Armor is actually not necessary because of the Sellsword background that we're going to end up doing. Burning Hands, maybe? I don't think so. That's good AoE. Let's see. Detect Magic, possibly. Fog Cloud might have been a good option as well. I'm happy with this. I think this is going to be good. Actually, you know what? Instead of Burning Hands, I think we're going to take Thunder Wave. Yeah, I'm happy with that. Alright, so 2 of our party members down. We got a High Elf Sellsword. We have a Hell Dwarf Wanderer for a Cleric. Now, let's talk about the next. And I actually want to go Halfling for this next one. And the reason I go Halfling is because I'm going to be going for a Rogue. And oh my god, his mustache is amazing. We are going to... Should we utilize that mustache? That is a good looking prep. He's a Rogue. He is our Rogue. Alright, so Halflings. Really nice things with Halflings is the nimbleness to it. Lucky, reroll a 1 on an attack roll. That is going to be amazing. Because I have horrible luck. Oh, what happened to his mustache? I don't like his mustache anymore. I don't like these people. I wanted that mustache. Alright, she's fine. She doesn't have a mustache, but she'll work. Anyway, we're going back to Rogue. So, with the Rogue. Oh, I'm sorry. For the Halflings, getting a chance to reroll the ones is really good. On top of that, so I just feel like they're skill monkeys. Like, having a Rogue in the party is just so viable. Rangers are good alternatives. And honestly, if you want to go Ranger, that's totally fine. I would just recommend take like the spy. I think it's the spy or the whatever the job is. Let me go next ring. It's the low life background, I believe, because you want to make sure they're proficient with thieves tools if you are going to go Ranger. So Ranger is a good alternative, but I have a wizard who's basically going to be my Ranger anyway. So I do feel like the Rogue is going to be your best option. If you really don't want to go with a rogue, maybe a sorcerer could possibly fill that role. Maybe a druid could, especially because you're going to have that dexterity wizard in the party. But you don't really have anybody in that case that would be proficient. You'd want to make sure you pick that spy master background, the low life background if you're going that route. But me, I'm going with a rogue. I want to be a rogue this round. I'm debating between Shadowcaster and Dark Weaver. Dark Weavers are pretty cool, and you get to bounce around a little bit. Thief could be good. I have seen the need for being able to quickly adjust scrolls on the fly, so having that fast hands option is good. Dark Weaver is going to be a little bit more consistent. They do get the extra proficiency bonus in the Poisoner kit. Climbing is really good in this game, and having the higher ground bonus, you get to add your proficiency bonus to it. That's only like plus 2 damage, but hey, like there's been so many times where that 2 damage has meant the difference of killing the enemy or not. So I'm gonna go with Dark Weaver very likely, unless I change my mind when we're in the game. So let's check out our equipment. In my opinion, there's no reason to really take the rapier over a short sword. Short swords do deal a little bit extra, or a little bit less damage than a rapier. However, with your offhand, you can attack with your dagger. And if you miss your first hit with a rapier, you don't get the option to switch to your dagger and try and stab. Because very likely your short bow is going to be in your offhand. So I do feel like the short sword is the better option, because you can still get your sneak attack off with your offhand attack if you miss the first hand attack. So short sword, hands down, better option. Short bow, yeah, we're a rogue. We're going to want to keep our distance for the most part. And everything else is fine. So with this, we have our spy's background if we want to go. This is proficient with natures and poisoner kit. We already have that proficiency. So what normally would be a good option for our rogue? We could go maybe like proficient with thieves tools, we're proficient in all this stuff already. We already get our thieves tools. But I would honestly contemplate, if you really wanted to kind of play this out, having that Antiquitian background relationship a little bit more with the academic would be better. And having that proficiency with the enchanted items, your wizard does get that as well. But that's really about it. I am going to check one last thing, though. I do get my thieves tools already, so we are going to go with academic. She is going to be a smart thief. I'm thinking Laura Craft style. Just because the brown hair reminds me of it. Rogues aren't lawful. What are we doing? Pragmatic. Be cautious. All right. This is a good one. Here we go. So I'm going to lay it out this way. One alternative that you could do is switch your wisdom with your strength if you want to have that extra carrying capacity, because I do have him as a rogue. But I think being able to see traps pretty easily is your better option. So having that higher wisdom score. Or, you know what, actually, because we may go into the... we're not going to go Shadow Weaver this game. I'm not going to go Shadow. I think it's going to be the Dark. We're not going to do the Dark Casters. So if you are going to be a Dark Caster, then make your intelligence the next highest one. Having the higher athletics, of course, you want +7 in strength. Your stealth. We're going to make sure that stealth is nice and high so we can consistently hide from stuff. Acrobatics. Your check covers your attempts to stay on your feet in tricky situations such as trying to run across sheets of ice and balance, blah, blah, blah. That's nice. Okay. Athletics. Jumping over. Yeah, so having that extra jump, I am going to actually do that. And for her, Ultimarian, and let's go Elvish. Annie Whitesail, there we go. Alright, that is our rogue down. And so, we have a choice. We need a frontliner. My Hill Dwarf is going to end up being our frontliner more than any, as well. She's more of an off-tank, though. We don't really want her being smacked around. So, that leaves us to either let's go Paladin, let's go Fighter, or let's go Barbarian. You honestly can't go too wrong with any of those. The Paladins have the extra ability to heal. That is really good. Their smites dealing extra damage when it's like they can. I've done 80 points of damage from a crit before with that. That's for your two weapon fighting ones if you want to go that route. Really good. Whether you go with a fighter, a paladin, or a barbarian, I do feel like the half orcs are amazing for that front line. And the main reason I love orcs is because of their relentless endurance. When you are reduced to 0 hit points but not killed outright, drop to 1 instead. You can benefit this again when you finish a long rest. This has single-handedly saved me from a TPK. I love like having this is your frontliner. Keeping him up is really good. Plus the +2 strength, +1 con. It's really good. The only argument I would say is if you are making a paladin, then +2 charisma on your half elves is good in that case. But nothing's beating the orc. And look at that beard. Now, fighter, paladin, and my barbarian. Okay. So, we're gonna have our shield tank. One good option if you want to go fighter is the Mountaineers. Because of their shield fighting, they have advantage on shove attempts when using shields. That is really powerful in theory. I've never had a chance to test that one, but I know that there is a lot of places you can just shove enemies to their death. That is cool, but I don't know if it's cool enough for me to want to go that route. The other alternative, again, is Paladin. Having the Divine Sense, Lay on Hands, neutralizing poisons, which you get poisoned a lot in this game. Light armor. I mean, like, I like pretty much everything that Paladins have to offer. And then the Barbarian. The argument with the Barbarian, in my opinion, ends up being the unarmored defense. Oh, you get your Dex mod plus your con. Like, unless I roll really well, Barbarian, I feel like is too light in the armor class. Sure, you get your rage, but you have to make sure you go above everybody to make sure you cast it. I'm not a big enough fan of Barbarians to play them on Cataclysm mode. I could be wrong. People could probably swear by them. I'm sure there's a lot of good arguments, but my personal debate is between the Paladin and the Fighter, and I honestly am leaning towards the Fighter. Depends if I want to go one-handed or two-handed. And Paladin, I think you're winning. Alright, so the alignments don't matter. We have another rune, so let's go with a rune. At this point, I think we've filled up a lot of their roles. I could make a low-life Paladin. That'd be fun. But I honestly think the Acolyte, or maybe the Academic again, might be good. An Acolyte. That's what I like. All right, this is nuts. If a player of mine rolled this in real life, I would make them switch. Yeah. So 20 strength paladin, 17 con, and I'm fine with that because I am going to end up putting the tough feat on there, so that'll put it up to 18, and then I'll cap off the constitution later on as well. Athletics, we want him nice and the ability to jump. Persuasion, let's give him Ultimarian. That is an awesome beard. His name, I don't like Brack. He doesn't look like a Brack. Caliban. I liked Caliban, that's cool. Alright, this was our session 0. So we have our team lined up, we have our builds ready, and let's go hopefully not die in Cataclysm mode at this point. So if you are interested, continue watching. I hopefully at least gave you a good character building tips, but carry on, watch us fight our way through Cataclysm mode. Again, this is Prunk, thank you so much, have a good night.